So maybe you've heard it said before that we create our own reality, or maybe the phrase, what you focus on, you get more of. And it's absolutely true. But there are factors at play that you didn't have much control over and that you don't have much say over until you realize that they're there. So today I want to talk about what these are, how you can get past them, and really dive into what's going on underneath the life that you're living when it's not in alignment with the life that you want. I'm Ketra Thompson. For those of you who are new to my channel, I'm a certified master hypnotist, and I help people address these issues on a subconscious level, those limiting beliefs that are holding people back from actually having the life that they love, having the relationships that they love, the connections that they want, and really having that deep sense of self-worth. So if you'd like to learn more about working with me, I'll just quickly mention there is a link in the description that tells you all about all of those options so you can learn more there. So today I want to unpack what is going on behind this sort of phrase or belief that we're creating the life that we want, or that we are creating our own reality. So we are creating our own reality, and you might not even realize it. But the problem is there's a subconscious programming that happens when we're really young. So from birth to the ages about 5 or 6, we're walking around in a state of hypnosis. We're taking in all the information around us, everything people say to us, everything that they do, everything we witness them doing with each other. And we assign meaning to it, and then we use that meaning to create the blueprint in our subconscious mind. Now, we don't have any discernment because we're so young. So oftentimes we can't just say that, oh, this person meant this or meant that. We're assigning very literal meaning based on very limited information. So our subconscious mind is driving over 95% of everything we think, feel, and do. And because of that, that programming matters. So I want to say that it both is and isn't your fault about what's going on in your life. So it isn't your fault that that programming went in the way that it did. We can't control the way that people behaved toward us or the way that they treated us when we were young, but we can control the way we function as an adult if we have the proper awareness. So sometimes we get stuck in these loops where we're just trying to feel the way we once felt before or experience something we felt before. And I know from my own personal experience that I had a 17-year marriage. I was married when I was 19. And I had a very specific view of life and myself, what I was and wasn't going to do, what I wasn't going to repeat that my parents did. And I was also very involved in my church at the time and had this very idealistic view of who I was supposed to be. And anything outside of that became off limits for me. And what it really did was it created this very small box of expression that didn't allow for other points of view or a certain level of openness to happen. So at the end of that marriage, which I never thought would end, even though I chose to end it due to his infidelity, I found myself full of shame and guilt and a belief system that I wasn't good enough because I had failed in this marriage, which led me into a very short second marriage, which was extremely toxic, extremely manipulative. And the reason that I ended up there was because of my self-concept at the end of my first marriage. I was in a place I'd never been before. I was in a place that kept me believing that I was not worthy. So consequently, I ended up in a relationship where I was treated as if I was not worthy. Now, luckily, I had the life experience of knowing that what was going on in this short second marriage was not okay. I knew it from the beginning, right after we got married, when the behavior changed. And so I did push back a lot, and eventually knowing my self-worth on a deeper level helped me get out of that. But you can see how someone who has had life experiences as a child where they might have grown up in a home with a lot of neglect or abandonment or loss, even neglect that isn't their parents' fault, a lot of parents that had to work or couldn't give them the time or attention they needed can still have these same effects. So we end up creating a belief system about ourselves. that we believe is 100% accurate, and we just can't see outside of that. So once we realize that we're operating on this old programming, that's when we have an opportunity to start imagining a life that's different than we've experienced before. Once I did the work of really peeling back the layers of my belief and addressing my inner trauma, I was able to see that I didn't need to be so rigid in the way that I thought and felt, because now I just felt good in myself. I felt confident and connected to myself, and I no longer took what other people thought or their opinions or assumptions about me personally, and I didn't assign them to myself as a definition of me. Even their beliefs about the world, whether it's relationships or politics or whatever, I didn't feel like their differing belief had any indication of how they felt about me or how I felt about myself. I was able to remove myself from assigning the meanings that other people were placing on me. I hope that makes sense. So I finally felt confident. I finally felt full of really self-worth, knowing that I am inherently worthy. I don't have to earn that. And releasing the shame and the guilt and all of those kind of looping thoughts that were going on inside of my mind from the past. That is true freedom. So, how are we creating our own reality? Well, again, we are creating our reality by what we focus on. So when we believe something about ourselves, we look for evidence of that in the real world. And we capture that negative evidence to reaffirm that negative belief about ourselves is accurate. This is how we let the wrong relationships in our life. This is how we stay stuck in jobs that we hate. This is how we don't see any movement and we're just so frustrated inside, right? So when we start thinking about things being different, we can start mentally moving there so we can physically move there, because all shifts happen on the inside. And I don't mean some kind of surface level positive thinking. I'm taking it a step deeper than that, because the work I do with clients is on a subconscious level. Now, when we go back and reframe those belief systems on a subconscious level, they're no longer driving us in the direction that they used to. Now, we have a new set of beliefs to operate from. And the tricky part about that is that this is uncharted territory. This is a place we haven't been before. And so we don't have the history of being able to say, oh, I know how this is going to turn out or how it's going to look. We have to step into the unknown. But here's the key. Because we're creating our reality, everything we're experiencing presently is based on old creation, old thoughts, old feelings, because whatever we did focus on took some time to manifest in our life. So what we're choosing to think and feel about on the inside of us currently is what's creating our future reality. So that is the reality. This isn't like blanket statements about, I'm gonna own $1 million yacht in 6 months. Not that that's impossible, right? This is a deeper awareness of where you want to go in life and what that feels like for you. Embodying that in your life is a big deal. And being able to sit with that and be consistent with that is very difficult if you haven't reframed those subconscious beliefs, because they're just running in the background of your mind like a tape that you can't force it to stop playing. So if you really want to release the resistance that's keeping you from feeling the way you want to feel, you really need to do it on a subconscious level first, because it's so much easier to reframe your focus after that. So really pay attention to the way you would describe other people. Pay attention to how you would describe other issues or people or circumstances. And then notice the negativity that you carry around in you. That is the real you. You need to accept it. You need to realize that it's there. And once you accept it and realize that you've been judging yourself on your intentions and probably not your reality of who you are and how you function, you can accept yourself and you can start making a plan to shift those things. You can capture those thoughts as they come up and you can redirect them in another way. And of course, it's so much easier when you've done the deep subconscious work, like when you're doing hypnotherapy in a customized process, right? So I want to reiterate that you can change this on your own, but it takes a longer amount of time and you don't typically feel the traction that you feel when you get help. And let's face it, you're all getting help. We all need help. Even if you're reading someone's posts on social media that are inspiring to you, maybe you're using that content to sort of shift the way you function. That's still getting help from someone else. So there's nothing wrong with getting help. We are meant to get help. We are communal beings and we really need community. So if you want to shift the way you relate to other people, if you want to shift the way they perceive you, if you want to be able to connect with the right person so you can finally have that love that you want, that commitment that you want, that life that you want, then this is where you need to start. Deep inner work. So start noticing the patterns, start noticing what's coming up for you, and realizing that you are creating your reality. So shifting your focus and getting into the state of mind and the feeling of how you want to be living, and accepting that that is reality. It's not here yet that you can see, just like your current reality was being created before you could see it. It doesn't mean it's not reality. It means that you aren't experiencing it outside of yourself yet, but you are creating it. And this is, when you hear the term manifesting, what it's all about is feeling like you already have the situation that you desire. But in my opinion, it goes a little deeper than that, because we are fighting against this subconscious programming. And so dealing with the subconscious programming is a really important part of this process. So again, if you'd like to learn more about how to work with me and what that subconscious process through hypnotherapy looks like, set up that consultation call. The link is in the description below. It's a completely free call where we can just talk this all out and help you get some clarity to make a decision that's best for you. I personally believe in this process because this process is what got me out of the stuck state that I was in for so long. And it feels amazing to be just this free and this open to live my life however I want. So until next time, create a life that you feel proud of, that you feel good in, that you can imagine having all of those good sensations and connections that you want so that you can create it in your reality.